The tension in the room had been building for hours, thick and suffocating like the heavy rain pounding against the windows. Jungkook and Tae had been bickering all day, their voices bouncing off the walls of the large living room. It started with something small, Tae not wanting Jungkook to go out with his friends again, thinking it was unnecessary, while Jungkook accused Tae of being too controlling. Why does it matter if I go out with them for a few hours? I need space sometimes, Tae. It feels like you're always watching me, suffocating me. Jungkook huffed, his arms crossed as he glared at Tae, who stood tall and unyielding on the other side of the room. Tae's eyes narrowed, the flash of possessiveness glinting in his gaze. Because I know how those friends of yours are, Jungkook. They don't respect our marriage. They don't care about boundaries, and I won't have you getting dragged into the mess. Tae said in a firm, possessive tone. It's just a night out, Tae. You can't control every little thing I do. I'm your husband, not your possession. Jungkook shot back, feeling frustration bubble up inside him. Don't you dare act like I treat you like an object. Tae's voice dropped, low and firm, his eyes burning with intensity. He took a step closer, and the air between them seemed to spark. I treat you better than anyone could. I make sure you're safe. I make sure you're protected, and this, he gestured to the door. This is how you repay me. By wanting to run off and act like you're single. Jungkook threw his hands up in frustration. God, sometimes I feel like I should be single with the way you act. Maybe I should leave you if this is how it's going to be forever. I don't want to live like this anymore. Maybe we should just get a divorce. Jungkook yelled, his chest heaving with anger, not fully comprehending what he had just said. There was a beat of silence. Jungkook's words hung in the air, sharp and unintended, but they had already slipped past his lips before he could take them back. The moment the word divorce left his lips, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. The silence that followed was deafening. Tae's eyes darkened, his posture stiffening as if the very word was an insult. He stood completely still, but the way his gaze bore into Jungkook's made Jungkook's heart pound in his chest. What did you just say? Tae asked quietly, his voice low and dangerous, though eerily calm. Jungkook froze, the anger from moments before draining out of him as the full weight of what he'd said hit him. But it was too late. Tae had already taken a step toward him, his expression unreadable, and before Jungkook could apologize, Tae closed the distance between them in one smooth, deliberate motion. You think divorce is a joke? You think you can just say that and walk away without consequences? Tae's voice was dark now, possessive in a way that sent a shiver down Jungkook's spine. His hands shot out, gripping Jungkook's wrist tightly but not painfully, pulling him forward so that their bodies were mere inches apart. Tae, Jungkook started, but the words were stuck in his throat. His heart was racing, and a cold wave of nervousness washed over him. No, you don't get to speak. Tae cut him off, his voice firm, his eyes locking Jungkook in place. He stepped forward again, crowding Jungkook against the wall. His body loomed over Jungkook, his gaze intense, his presence suffocating in the most electrifying way. You're mine, Jungkook. And you don't get to throw around a word like divorce without facing the consequences. Tae growled, his hand sliding up to Jungkook's jaw, gripping it firmly and tilting his face up so their eyes met. Jungkook's breath hitched as Tae's thumb pressed gently against his lower lip, forcing his mouth slightly open. He wasn't sure whether it was fear or something much more thrilling that caused his knees to feel weak, but Tae's possessiveness, the deep intensity in his gaze, made his pulse race. Tae's grip on Jungkook's wrist tightened as he pulled him away from the wall, guiding him toward the large, plush chair in the corner of the room. He sat down, keeping Jungkook's wrist firmly in his hold before pulling him forward and forcing him down over his lap in one swift motion. Jungkook's eyes widened, realizing Tae wasn't just going to scold him, he was going to punish him. "I warned you, didn't I? You think you can say something like that and walk away? You think I'm going to let you act like our marriage means nothing, huh?" Tae's voice was calm but laced with danger as he smoothed his hands over Jungkook's lower back. Jungkook bit his lip, heat flooding his face as he was completely at Tae's mercy. His heart pounded in his chest as Tae's hand moved lower, teasingly hovering near his waist. "Tae, I didn't mean it." Jungkook's voice came out as a plea, but Tae's hand came down suddenly, delivering a firm kick across Jungkook's backside, cutting him off with a gasp. "Too late, honey. You don't get to play games with me. You're going to learn your lesson tonight. You're going to regret saying that. I'll make sure you never say it again," Tae said, his tone low, almost a growl. He wasn't, but the message was clear. Another firm ended, making Jungkook wince. But there was something intoxicating about the way Tae was handling him, firm, controlled, but with care. Tae leaned down, his lips brushing against Jungkook's ear. "You don't get to talk about divorce ever. Do you understand me?" Jungkook nodded quickly, his breath shaky. "Yes, I understand." Tae's hands slid underneath Jungkook's shirt, trailing over his skin with deliberate slowness. "Good. But we're not done yet. You need to really feel what you've done," Tae whispered, his voice sending shivers down Jungkook's spine. Without warning, Tae flipped Jungkook around so that he was straddling his lap. The sudden shift left Jungkook's heart racing even faster, his knees weak as he looked into Tae's dark, intense eyes. Tae's hands gripped his waist, pulling him closer until their chests were pressed together. "Look at me," Tae commanded, his voice low but filled with authority. Jungkook's wide eyes met his, and he could see the fiery possessiveness burning within them. "You think I would ever let you go? You think I'd ever let anyone else have you?" Jungkook's breath hitched as Tae's fingers dug into his skin, a reminder of who he belonged to. The atmosphere was thick with tension, and despite the nervousness coursing through him, Jungkook couldn't deny the heat pooling in his stomach at the way Tae was looking at him, as if he was everything in the world that mattered. "No one can have you. You belong to me, and you're never getting away," Tae continued, his grip tightening on Jungkook's waist as his lips hovered dangerously close. Before Jungkook could respond, Tae's lips crashed down on his, the kiss and possessive, filled with all the emotions Tae had been holding back. Jungkook melted into the kiss, his body betraying him as he clung to Tae's shirt, losing himself in the overwhelming intensity of it. When Tae finally pulled back, his breathing was heavy, his eyes dark as they bore into Jungkook's. "Now you're going to apologize properly," Tae said, his voice soft but dripping with dominance. Jungkook blinked, still dazed from the kiss. "Apologize," Jungkook mumbled, his voice barely audible. Tae's hand slid down to his thigh, his touch possessive yet gentle. "I want to hear you say it. I want to hear you promise me that you'll never say those words again." Jungkook's face flushed with heat, but he nodded quickly, his voice trembling. "I'm sorry, hubby. I didn't mean it. I won't ever say it again, I promise. I love you." Tae's lips curved into a satisfied smirk as he leaned in close, his breath warm against Jungkook's skin. "Good boy. I love you more. You're mine, and I won't let you forget that," Tae murmured, pressing a soft kiss to the corner of Jungkook's lips. Jungkook's heart swelled at Tae's words, and despite the intensity of the moment, he felt a sense of comfort in the possessiveness that surrounded him. He was Tae's, and deep down, he knew he wouldn't have it any other way. The end.